All right, good morning. So today's workout, we're gonna get some running in, some monostructural metabolic training, because I haven't been ignoring it, but I just haven't done it in a little bit. So I'm gonna use my block. So it's roughly 800 meters. I'll be honest with you, I have zero clue how long this run is. A run around the block, followed by a 30 to 45 second L-sit hold on the parallettes. I'm gonna hold that maybe 5 rounds? 5 rounds. I'm gonna go for 5 rounds. So it's a moderate intensity run. Really get a good metabolic response, followed by a little bit of skill work, gymnastics work. This could go great. I could go on my first run and realize this is a terrible idea, but we'll figure it out. All right, so the 800 meter estimate that I made right before the workout was pretty right on. It kept me going at a pretty high intensity for the run. I was a little winded for the hold, so the 4th and 5th round of the L-sit holds got a little bit challenging. So towards the end, I had to split them up to get at least 30 seconds. That is a really strong gymnastic skill, the L-sit. If it's really challenging for you, a couple things you could do, I'll show it. One is holding it sort of a half L-sit hold, where one foot's on the ground for some assistance while the other is in that L position. So I'll show that. And then another one, a lot of times people have a really difficult time, whether that's due to some posterior tension or just haven't gone through the movement enough to get that neurological part down. So bending the knees a little bit can help a ton. So I'll show that as well. Let's go grocery shopping, because we all know that this is the most exciting part of anyone's day right now. All right, so you've seen the workout I went out through this morning. I got groceries, exciting stuff, I know. Of course, the rest of the course of the day, kind of been dealing with a little bit of pent up stuff, a little stress, anxiety. I'm sure you might be able to relate during these times. Sometimes it gets you out of nowhere, but it's a beautiful day outside our garden here. It's actually a banana tree, lemon, lime, got a bunch of stuff that we can actually eat. But anyways, so to deal with some of the stress, some of the elevated anxieties, I have a breathing practice, and I wanted to talk about one of the really strong and very simple breathing techniques called resonance breathing. Resonance meaning 2 or more parts of a system coming together to work in harmony. In this case, it's the sympathetic and the parasympathetic nervous system of our body. I got this concept, if you want to check it out. It's called One Simple Thing by Eddie Stern. So if you're a yoga practitioner or just somebody who really likes to know how the body works, and maybe you're thinking about yoga, it's a great entry book. But it talks about the effects of yoga, more specifically our breathing, and how that can impact our nervous system and our vagus nerve. So the idea is this, that adults average about 15 to 18 breaths per minute. And in times of stress or increased anxiety, that might elevate up to about 20 to 25 breaths per minute. The dog's over there. Okay, so let me try to break it down and then maybe talk you through how to implement this for yourself. So the anxiety, the stress, what we're feeling, right? That can play into our respiration rate, our breathing rate. And so if we start to breathe faster, but the demand, like you're not out there sprinting and you need to catch your breath, the demand doesn't call for a faster breath. your brain's going to signal that into your body that something's not right. And so this can lead to the fight or flight response that I'm sure a lot of us know about, increases certain hormones, things like that. But if you're carrying that state around, that can also lead to elevated blood pressure, can lead to inflammation in the body, can lead to compounding stress and anxieties on top of stress and anxieties. So what can we do and how do we practice this? What we can do is take control of the breath. We always have that option. And then see how that directly impacts down the line. And so by bringing this conscious resonance breathing practice, we see how we can start to bring the sympathetic and the parasympathetic nervous systems back into equilibrium. Oh, how we actually practice this. So it's very simple. You can do it sitting up, nice and relaxed, even laying down, however it works for you. Generally, we're looking to slow the breath down to about 5 to 7 breaths per minute. The inhales and the exhales are going to be the exact same length, or the exhales being slightly longer than the inhales. A lot of times we find ourselves, really uptight when we're breathing and we get ourselves worked up or holding stress. You feel it all up here. So that exhale, helping us with that exchange, that gas exchange, bringing oxygen, carbon dioxide, again, everything equilibrium. We're trying to bring everything back into balance. And so if I'm starting to bring this breath into play, just getting myself comfortable, getting myself relaxed, inhaling through the nose and just counting, nice and relaxed, letting the belly fill, the chest fill, and then on the exhale, again, finding about 10 to 12 seconds per breath. You can go through as many rounds of that as it feels comfortable or as that you can do at first, and just notice how that might start to affect things. Now, what I love about this practice, this breathing practice, is it can completely change your perspective on how do you approach your physical yoga practice or your physical workout or whatever it is, taking it from a physical level and bring it more sort of internalizing it, seeing how everything else complements the breath, the inhale, the exhale. We're one breath away from not being here, and it's incredible that we don't even have to think about our breath at all. But if you can bring some conscious awareness to it, you can start to change habits and start to see how that can impact your physical practices as well. Now I want to show how we can take that resonance breathing idea and bring it into our yoga practice. Just going through a couple sun salutations and seeing how you can now link the slowing down of the breath to slow, controlled movement, how that can affect you at a nervous system level. That's all about controlling the breathing with controlled movement, how we interlink that. So another idea of resonance, bringing harmony between two movements. So at the top of the mat, just getting a little more aware with your breath, softening areas that maybe can hold some tension in your shoulders, your neck. And then exhaling through the nose completely. On your inhale, to bring all the breath all the way in. Touching the hands together at the top. And then on the exhale, folding the chest down. And you can bend your knees if it's tight. Allowing the head to relax down. Finish the exhale. Inhaling, lengthening the head up. Creating length through the spine. Maybe the hands up the shins if that helps. Exhaling, bringing the hands to the ground. You can step, jump, walk the feet back to plank. And either lowering with control of the hips or using your knees down for some assistance. Exhale down. On the inhale, turn to the tops of the toes. Upward facing dog, press into the tops of the feet. Strong into the legs, lift the chest. On the exhale, tucking the toes, coming down to downward facing dog for 5 breaths. And so pressing up through the hips, letting the chest sink down. You can bend the knees again. If it's tight into the backs of the legs or the back, you might need to bend the knees a little or a lot here. After your 5th breath, you can gaze forward, Your fifth breath, you can gaze forward. Inhale again, however you got your feet back. Bring them to the top of the mat. Finish the breath in with that same lengthening. Exhale, fold. Inhale, rise all the way up. Again, full breath. Length of the movement, hands together, gaze to the thumbs. Exhale, hands to the side. So again, just some other methods you could use. Inhale. Exhale, fold. If it's really tight in the backs of the legs, bend the knees. Inhale, lengthen. Again, you can keep the knees bent, hands up the shins. Exhale, step, walk, or jump the feet back to plank. Lower the knees, the chest, and the chin. Cobra or upward facing dog, you can keep the hips grounded, keep lifting through the front of the chest. Tuck the toes, come to downward facing dog. As much bend in the knees that feels appropriate to find some comfort here. 5 breaths. On your 5th breath, inhale, back to the front of the mat, same thing, lengthen, finish the inhale. Exhale, fold. Inhale, rise all the way up. Exhale, hands to the mat. As you get more comfortable with the movement, the breath gets a little more controlled. One more time through, adding maybe some more advanced movements. Inhaling, gaze to the thumbs. Finish the breath in. Exhale, fold. Finish the breath out. Inhale, rise, halfway, head up. Finish the breath in. Exhale, step, jump. Or walk the feet back, lower chaturanga, finish the breath out. Inhale, upward facing dog, in strong through the front of the body, finish the breath in. Exhale, downward facing dog, 5 breaths. The end of the 5th breath, gazing forward. Inhale, bring the feet to the front. Lengthen with the breath in. Exhale, fold. Inhale, rise all the way. Gaze to the thumbs, finish the breath. Exhale back. So these are just a couple ways. So the breath practice can be done on its own. Then you can start to add the breath into some movement practicing as well. And so the sun salutation is a great reset. Maybe it's something you give a try if you had interest in getting into yoga. This is just a really nice way of figuring out how that link of the breath and movement starts to play in and how that can affect your body.